Edition, over the hill, Grahamstown, Baintown, from everywhere they're coming. They're the people's choice, the Saxon superstars.
Hello? Who's in the morning?
Boots!
Has the PLP received any funding where the campaign finances or any sort of monies from FTX?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay, and what about cabinet ministers? Are they holding any digital wallet portfolios, anything connected to FTX?
I do not know that. In fact, I'm agnostic to it. I don't hold any wallet, and I'm not aware of any of my cabinet ministers.
And when pressed as to whether government invested in the now defunct company, he gave a very quick and assertive
No.
But what about other suggestions that high-ranking PLP officials have been seen traveling internationally alongside FTX bigwigs? Like this shot of senior government advisor Jerome Fitzgerald seen in Chicago with the company's president.
I know in Chicago, they opened an office. They invited me to speak to the opening. I was unable to do so. And Jerome would have accompanied me on that trip. Whether he went, I don't recall, but I had other engagement, and I could not make that trip.
And then there were assertions that due diligence was not followed when allowing FTX to operate here after relocating from Hong Kong. Well, the Prime Minister is resting on his statements that government's hands are clean, but he's not happy at all with the way the saga is unfolding in international headlines.
I think it's unfair. It's an unfair characterization. Most of what is being said is the posturing of persons who would wish to have the liquidation under their control.
So as far as he's concerned, the work to bolster a digital asset industry continues.
I have positioned the Bahamas to be the leading jurisdiction in the digital assets space. I'm intending to keep that position, and the only thing of concern is reputational consequences, and I'm dealing with that.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are live. We're broadcasting live, and thank you to all of my producers out there from around the world. We appreciate you letting us know that we had no audio when we got started. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Lincoln Bain, and we are broadcasting live from around the world. I'm the leader of the Coalition of Independence. We're broadcasting live on Facebook, on YouTube, on LinkedIn, on Twitter, and on many other networks out there all over the world. You can tune in. And I know that many of you are tuned in to discuss what happened today and yesterday and what that exactly means. And we're going to bring you the real knowledge of what's going on. Ladies and gentlemen, today I watched the Congress interrogation of the new CEO of FTX. And in watching that, I was embarrassed to be a Bahamian. And there's some clips from that our local media did not play for you. In those clips, at that hearing, it is clear and apparent that the Bahamas' reputation has been shattered, that the Bahamas is being accused of some things. It is clear. And we are not going to solve this with our heads in the sand. We have to do what it takes to fix our reputation. So if you've joined, please share. Please share this live. Please get it out there. Share this in all of your networks on WhatsApp, on Messenger, wherever you can share this. Tag some persons in it right now as we go along. Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, on Sunday, as I went live, I made a threat to the administration, a political threat, that they had 2 good days. They had 48 hours in order to do what is right as it relates to FTX. We told them to come forward and confess their connections to this FTX saga and what exactly is going on. And we have been telling them from day one that they must arrest Sam Bankman-Fried. And of course, because of the pressure that we were putting on them, I think that along with pressure from the United States government, etc., and a slick plan on their part caused them to make this arrest. I'm going to explain all of that. I think the government got wind of, well, I heard they got wind of what we were about to do. And this week, if they had not responded in 48 hours, we had planned to bring a crew. A jet was already rented, leased. We were bringing a crew of 50 crypto millionaires, over 50 crypto millionaires to the Bahamas who lost money in FTX. A crew of more than 50 crypto investors, crypto millionaires were coming down to the Bahamas to deal with this government, to put pressure on them to do a protest. I see that yesterday Ben talked a little bit about it. He just mentioned it on one of his lives. That's Ben Armstrong, BitBoy Crypto. They were coming to do certain things. I won't say everything that was going to be done because some of it is still going to be done. All right. And so I'm going to leave it at that. And so they wanted to fight corruption, to help us fight corruption in the country. And they wanted us to take the lead on that and to advise them on what needed to be done. And that is exactly what we did. We decided to advise them what to do. And so some things are still going to happen because many are not satisfied with this alone. So some things are still going to happen. What happened in this saga is pure corruption. And I want to say this to all of my Bahamian people, that you may, fall for this cult-like attitude of the PLP and FNM. They're the cults in our country that have deceived us all of this time. That the PLP and FNM is one cult. And that cultish attitude is that, listen, the leaders must prosper, the leader must benefit, and everyone else suffers and brings money to them, and make sure that we do everything, work hard to make sure that they get wealthy and they get to have all the money, the wine, and the women. And we defend their wrong and their evil doing. That is the cultish attitude that we've had in the Bahamas for far too long, while we have suffered as a people. And so the cult stepped forward when this thing started to blow up and said, listen, y'all be quiet, watch what y'all say, tread carefully. We had a threat from our prime minister, from the present cult leader, that said, tread carefully, watch what you say. All right? That the authorities are coming to check Jonestown, and y'all need to be quiet. Do not embarrass the cult because you're going to hurt the cult. And that is the attitude that they had. They felt like covering this whole thing up, putting their heads in the sand, keeping your mouth shut is going to protect the reputation of our country. No. Getting rid of the corrupt leaders of this country is going to protect our reputation. The world knowing bad things happen in America, bad things happen in England, bad things happen in Australia, all around the world. But the difference is, in America, they will lock up a senator, and you've seen it. They will lock up a governor, and you've seen it. They will lock up a congressman, and you've seen it. There is justice there. We don't have this kind of situation where the police get a call from the politicians and they do whatever they want. They tell the politician will tell the police, listen, they're delivering a bill to the house, lock them up. Shut them up. They'll tell the commissioner of police, as the previous commissioner of police admitted, the prime minister told him to harass and persecute some police officers and fire them. One of them now is the commissioner of police. Not fire them, but lay them off, force them on vacation, and then and throw them on jobs that is embarrassing to them in their senior position. He admitted that our police force is corrupt and they take orders from the politicians. And this is what we have to fix. We have to fix our nation, and we are on a mission to fix our nation for the Bahamian people to benefit moving forward. And so for those watching this from around the world, because we had a lot of people in the international community calling me today, they were shocked at what they were seeing going on at this circus. They couldn't believe the way this court case was going on. And see, we can cover things up and let the politicians say something here and something there to cover things up and pacify us. But the international community is not impressed with our little cover-ups. And I want you all to realize that. They're not impressed with our cover-ups. No, they don't just trust us. Like how our politicians tell us to just trust them. Oh, just trust Brave. What you gonna do? You can bring minutes back? See, that is not the dilemma of the foreigners watching this and who want justice. They want what is right to happen. And so the first thing that we saw happen today was that Sam Bankman-Fried was taken to court. And we heard the magistrate come forward and say that she was blocked from going to court, to her court. What kind of banana republic is this? It is unlawful, illegal, an offense to block a magistrate from going to court. Not even the police can do that. Not even another magistrate or judge can do that. The Prime Minister, the Governor General, no one can stop a magistrate from going to his or her court. That is unlawful and illegal. But guess what's going to come out of this? Nothing. So also the prosecutor said that he was prevented from going to the court. The prosecutor in this matter was prevented from going to the court. He was delayed. What kind of banana republic is this? The media was blocked from having access to the court. The court is a public place for a reason. It is a part of democracy for the court to be a public place and for the media to always have access for the court, except in extreme circumstances. Extremes. And this is not one of them. And the media was pushed around. But what I saw was that when persons with light colored skin, with white skin, they would just walk right past the police and they would get to walk past. And I saw Theo Seeley questioning that. Why are these people, these white people, allowed to walk past, but you're blocking me? He said. I probably need to say I'm with them. This is the same banana republic nonsense that we keep going through in this country. I was embarrassed by the calls and the texts I was getting. Like, what's going on in your country? Like, what are they doing? This administration continues to embarrass us internationally. And so let's get deep into this. Sam Bankman-Fried had a trial that started, stopped. I'm sure you all have seen the reports now. I don't want to have to go back into all of that. He needed some medicine and medication. He has several issues. He has depression, insomnia, and something else, or ADD. The boy got plenty issues, and this the fella that your prime minister let trick him. The fella got depression. He's suffering from depression. And they're going to take all of our carbon credits and give it to him. Suffering from ADD. And they're going to take all our carbon credits and give it to him. Suffering from insomnia. And they say some allergy. And he's on medication for these stuff. And that's who the prime minister was giving all of our carbon credits that they say is worth billions and trillions. That's their words. But they're going to give it to him. Lord, Lord, Lord. Y'all share this yet? And so he has all these problems, so that caused a delay in court. You have one patch you have to take, and you have to take his shirt off to do it, and all kind of nonsense. Um, his parents was allowed to be in court, um, and there's nothing wrong with that. But his parents seem to be tangled up, and their names were called in Congress today. And I'm going to get to that in a minute. I'm going to play you some clips from Congress, so you can see what Congress is investigating, what they are looking at, and what's really happening, and how they really feel. We in trouble. So, um, Sam Bankman-Fried eventually, his lawyers was arguing about whether he should get bail, and they were arguing that he's a resident. Did you all know that? We was never told that until now. He's a resident of the Bahamas. Wow, just reached. That was fast. He's a resident of the Bahamas. They said he has all kind of property here, over $200 million in property. Like literally, his lawyers was arguing that he has over $200 million in property here. Jesus. They was arguing about the stolen property. I call it that because it was bought with stolen money. And they was using that to say that he has attachment to the Bahamas. This stolen property that is about to be taken away. We'll get to that. That was their argument, amongst other things. They said he's not a flight risk, et cetera, et cetera. Absolute nonsense. But he is challenging his extradition. Apparently, Sam Bankman-Fried doesn't want to go back to America. He wants his good friends from the Davis administration to try him. He wants to stay here with the PLP. Sam Bankman-Fried, Sam Bankman-Fried, who is an American, doesn't want to go back to America to be tried. He wants the Bahamian government to try him. Now, he did an interview the other day on Sunday where with Jerome Sawyer, and the interview was embarrassing. I mean, Jerome Sawyer is very good. He's very good at what he does. He's been doing this for a very long time. But that seemed to be a garbage interview. It was a waste of time. The same questions that they heard other people ask already. They asked Sam, a question, about solicitation or whatever, and he said he does not think, or he doesn't. I don't remember how he worded it, but it was like not a definite answer. And basically, he was saying that he don't remember ever being asked for anything. Like no politician solicited anything from him. That's because they never have to solicit anything from him. He just gives to them. He just volunteers. He pays them off. Like the gangster come to town. He pays off politician. You don't have to solicit nothing from him. But he never said that he did not give our politicians anything. And that's how I know for certain, in my mind, that he paid these politicians off. He said no one asked him for nothing. Get it? But he never said he didn't give them. You get it? You heard the prime minister saying that he don't know about none of them getting anything. And then in an interview right after they played his clip, they played another one of his cabinet ministers saying that yeah, we got some laptops. So that showed that Philip Brave Davis lied. He was talking all these big words, and I want you to stop being impressed with these big words. Notice what he said. He said he is agnostic to the fact that any of their politicians, cabinet ministers, got anything. He's agnostic to the fact. Agnostic. Philip Brave Davis. I know your education went up to high school level, right? And that's it. But Philip Brave Davis, agnostic? That's a religious word. That's not the right word you use there. But you, just like Perry Chris, you like to use these big words that people aren't going to look up and people aren't going to check. And most people don't know. It just sounds good. Like, boy, he intelligent. You got a word he used, agnostic. He is agnostic to whether they got any money or not. Agnostic? Agnostic? Did you all hear him say that word? And that's what all these fellas do with their coat suit on, making you all impressed with their little words or big words to make you all think that they're smart. Let's try something. Define agnostic.
Here's the definition of agnostic. A person who believes that nothing is known or can be known of the existence or nature of God or of anything beyond material phenomena. A person who claims neither faith nor disbelief in God.
Agnostic. Brave. You're agnostic? That means you don't believe or disbelieve in God. You don't know or don't know anything about religion. You're agnostic? That's the word you use? Bahamas, you all wake up here. These fellas are not as intelligent as you think. And it is proof by the fact that little 30-year-old fella with ADD who in depression and can't sleep could trick them. He doesn't have to be smart to trick them. They just have to be corrupt. It's easy to deceive someone who's greedy. Just pay them and they'll close their eyes to anything. And that's what happens. So Brave is agnostic. Brave, you agnostic to the truth. That's what you are. You are agnostic to the truth. You need to be agnostic to corruption. We are sick of all of you. So now, Sam wants to stay here in the Bahamas and be prosecuted here in the Bahamas, where the Dare Act can only give him a fine of maybe $30,000. That's what Sam wants. $30,000. All right. Now, he was denied bail by the magistrate, and he's going to appear in court again on February 8th. Okay. They have 60 days to do the extradition. Otherwise, they have to let him go. Now, they can arrest him again afterwards, but they have to let him go in 60 days if America doesn't deal with the extradition. Now, there's a problem. Because I read through the document. I read through the document. If you see me looking down, I'm doing technical stuff. I'm hanging out with my millionaire friends, okay? So, you're wondering where I am. I'm not in the Bahamas. I read the document, and it was a very interesting document. And in that document, it talks about the charges that he's charged with. But very curiously, at the end of that document, it literally says that they are going to take any property that is associated or connected, any money or property, etc., that is connected to this matter. Any, whether it's in the United States or outside of the United States. And so what that means is that at $200 million worth of property, gone, eh? Y'all could forget that one. Y'all could let that one go. Back on. America struck first. I remember from the beginning of this, I was advising the government to arrest Sam Bankman-Fried, and that the property was the proceeds of crime or money laundering, etc., etc. That the property, the property, and everything else was the proceeds of crime, and as a result, our government could seize it and take it. If they arrested him and they taken it as a part of a criminal matter, no civil court could have gotten that back. Y'all remember, I was telling them, arrest him. It's a proceeds of crime. Even the tablets that person received, the laptops, all of this is the proceeds of crime. And I was telling them, lock him up. But of course, they couldn't do that. They was too busy figuring how they could find a way to weasel their way and get this property. That's what they're busy doing. And so, in the process, the big boys stepped in, and they are saying that they're going to take this property. All right, and that's in the sealed indictment. Well, it's unsealed now. It's in there, and so all that sweet, nice, beautiful property. So the property where the headquarters is, the big penthouse, the $30 million penthouse. The Wynn property. Remember, I was the first one telling you all about the Wynn property, that he bought property in the Wynn also that isn't even open yet. Remember, I informed you all of all of that. No one else would cover it. Um, let me show you all what they said about this. All right, let me show you all what this. I want y'all to see this. All right. I'm gonna actually show you all what it says. Oh wow. Oh Lord. This, ladies and gentlemen, is going to change the Bahamas forever. And on top of that, they are preparing a new and different type of blacklist for the Bahamas because of the same matter. Look where Brave has brought us. uh, they have brought us back to the dark ages. All right, so let me see if I can pull this up for y'all. Jesus Lord. All right, so we can share this with y'all. Okay, let me just share the screen with y'all. Let me just share the screen. Um, yeah, let me go right here. Ladies and gentlemen, I want y'all to see this document. Okay, there you go. You can see it here. All right. So this document, as a result of this document, this page 12 of the document, this is the sealed indictment. So this is the sealed indictment. United States versus the unsealed versus Sam Bankman-Fried. So let me scroll back down. And let me tell you something. The government didn't lock him up just because of this. They were being crafty. I could play some clips to y'all in a minute to cause y'all to see exactly what's going on. Let me go back to page 12. Where's page 12? This is here? There's page 12. Okay, let's get to page 12. Here we go. I want y'all to see this because let's talk about all the crimes and all that was committed, but boy, forfeiture allegations. All right. So As a result of committing the offenses alleged in counts 1, 2, 3, 4 of this indictment, Samuel Bankman Fried, the defendant shall forfeit to the United States pursuant to Title 18 under Section Code so and so and so, any and all property, real, that meaning like real estate, real and personal, that constitute or is derived from proceeds traceable to the commission of the said offenses, including but not limited to a sum of money in United States currency representing the amount of proceeds traceable to the commission of said offenses. 22. As a result of committing the offense alleged in count 7 of this indictment, Samuel Bankman Fried, aka SBF, the defendant shall forfeit to the United States pursuant to Title 18 United States Code any and all property, real and personal, involved in the said offense, or any property traceable to such property, including but not limited to the sum of money in United States currency representing the sum of property involved in said offense. Now, this 23, the important one. Watch this. If any of the above described forfeitable property as a result of any act or omission of the defendant, A, cannot be located upon the exercise of due diligence. I mean, they look for it and it's hard to find. They can't find it. They don't know where it is. Or B, has been transferred or sold to or deposited with a third person. C, has been placed beyond the jurisdiction of the court, has been substantially, I mean, outside of the country, jurisdiction of the court, has been substantially diminished in value, or has been commingled with other property which cannot be subdivided without difficulty. It is the intent of the United States, pursuant to Title 21, etc., of this code, to seek forfeiture of any other property of the defendant up to the value of the above forfeitable property. All right? And so they come in for everything. All right? They come in for everything. This is the full indictment here, and they're going to get it, or they're going to get the value of it. All right? So they're coming for it all. So, ladies and gentlemen, I advise this government to do what was right and to arrest Sam Bankman Fried. Of course, because they are so commingled. Someone says they can't take Bahamian land. Because they are so commingled, they didn't do it. Now, guess what? It's not too late to do it. But the reason they can't do it is because so much of their PLPs are tangled up. Now, they also talked about in the Congress today about the fact that Bahamians were able to withdraw $100 million worth of their assets in that one day, that 25-hour period. 25-hour period. When he opened it to Bahamians only. Now there's a email that is going around that is allegedly from him. All right, there's an email that's going around. And that's an interesting email. That's from him to the Attorney General. I'm going to read that email to you in a minute. But why did you let Bahamians take out $100 million? And who's these Bahamians with $100 million worth? The authorities in the United States are looking into that. I can tell you. They want to know who these people are. Now, I want you to see these two videos because this is a part of what happened in Congress today. And I saw a news organization covered a piece of this. They showed what Ms. Waters had to say, and they showed some of what the President CEO had to say, but they didn't show this. And this is what I want you to see. 5 minutes. Sit down. Watch this.
Finding of that indictment by justice. But I think as policymakers, we're here to understand the FTX collapse and what could be done to prevent a future fraud like this from ever occurring again, where individuals lost their money. It's complicated by the fact that FTX is domiciled in a foreign jurisdiction, and by all indications, Mr. Bankman-Fried is also in a foreign jurisdiction at this time. So we should ask ourselves tough questions as to why a company like FTX would choose to set itself up in the Bahamas rather than the United States in the first place. I think that's a question for Congress. And also, we can't lose sight of the fact that millions of Americans lost money in this. I'm outraged. I think you're outraged. The American people should be outraged. Let me dive in. A day after FTX filed for bankruptcy, multiple outlets reported that there was a hack or potential theft. You have stated unauthorized access to certain assets occurred, and that the company was in touch with law enforcement officials and regulators. Have you determined whether, in fact, assets were moved out after the bankruptcy?
Yes, clearly there was assets moved out after the bankruptcy.
Did you know whether or not that was an actual hack, or was this done, as has been reported, at the direction of the Bahamian authorities?
It was both.
It was both. And so some was done. Some was done as a result of a hack. Some was done as a result of the request of the Bahamian authorities.
Yes, that's right.
And do you have indication as to why the Bahamian authorities made that request?
Well, it wasn't a request. They just took it.
The Bahamian authorities took the funds that were at FTX through their own action.
Did y'all hear what the man just said? He just said, listen, this wasn't a request. The Bahamian government just took it. Do you see the conversation that's happening over there? Why wasn't this on our news? I'll bet you when you pick up the papers tomorrow, you will not see this in the papers. Y'all watched it today. And I'm sorry I got a bad quality clip because I didn't have time to get this myself. They said the Bahamian government just took it. What's the rest of it? Do you see our reputation right now? They said it was a hack and instructions by the Bahamian government. So they're saying that the Bahamian government instructed him, SBF, to hack that system and bring that money to the Bahamas. But why is what they are asking. Who needs that money in the Bahamas? I'm going to let you watch the rest of it.
Was no action required by FTX employees? Maybe you could provide just a little color.
They were aided by the ex-employees, yes.
They were aided by former employees.
Mr. Wang and Mr. Fried.
Of a hack. Some was done as a result of the request of the Bahamian authorities.
Yes, that's right.
And do you have indication as to why the Bahamian authorities made that request?
Well, it wasn't a request. They just took it.
The Bahamian authorities took the funds that were at FTX through their own action. Was no action required by FTX employees? Maybe you could provide just a little color.
They were aided by the ex-employees, yes.
They were aided by former employees of FTX.
Yes, Mr. Wang and Mr. Fried.
Is it in the eyes of the Bahamian authorities did this to protect clients and creditors? What was the do you have insight into the motivation behind this action?
Unlike the Chapter 11 process, there's no transparency in the process in the Bahamians, and we've repeatedly asked them for clarity about what they've been doing. We've been shut down on that.
So from you've requested insight as to why this was done from the Bahamian authorities. And the Bahamian authorities, their reply to you was that they did not reply, or they replied and it was unsatisfactory.
They put out statements that it was in the interest of the Bahamian creditors, although our view is that it violated the automatic stay in bankruptcy.
And so you have questions that still remain unanswered by the Bahamian authorities that would shed additional light into your investigation if that information was provided?
Yes.
Do you believe that at that time Mr. Bankman-Fried was attempting to undermine Chapter 11 cases by expanding the scope, by moving assets to accounts under the control of the Bahamian authorities?
It appears so.
So it appears that he may be working to undermine the scope of federal bankruptcy, U.S. federal bankruptcy law.
That's what it appears. Yes.
And so then do you still believe that the Chapter 15 case should be consolidated in the Delaware Bankruptcy Court?
No, I do not.
Jesus. They says the Bahamas government is looking to undermine. The Bahamas government is undermining. Are y'all listening? You notice Brave them, they ain't really saying nothing. They ain't touching this. Brave spoke from the protection of the House of Assembly, where his words are privileged. You can't use it against him. He would not do a press conference. He let the AG do it. And now a letter is going around, an email showing that Sam was in communication with the AG. There seem to be some workings. Why is he talking to the AG? The AG is in the SEC. And in the letter, he mentions Brave. David said, man, listen, let's sit down with Brave and let's see what we could work out, basically. Because we got to make the customers right or some nonsense. Keep listening. This will not be in the newspapers tomorrow because the media in this country is sold out. The media today didn't cover. They talk all kind of stuff. But this, what they should have played, even if it was to debunk it. But they're assuming that y'all ain't gonna sit down for 3.5 hours and watch this. Or watch me telling you about it. And so they could just do whatever they want. Keep listening.
No, I do not think so.
What do you think should be? What do you think would be the best course of action?
They have a liquidation proceeding relative to FTX Digital Markets. They filed that proceeding there. That is their proceeding. We think the Chapter 11 process is the only open, transparent process that gives visibility to customers of what happened and when they're going to get their money and how they're going to get their money. The process in the Bahamas Islands is not a transparent process. We have opened up the ability to share everything that we have with the Bahamian government, similar to how we share with other liquidators around the world. Not only in this case, in other cases, it's meant to be a very cooperative situation. The pushback that we've gotten is sort of extraordinary in the context of bankruptcy. It raises questions. It seems irregular to me. There's lots of questions on our part, and obviously we're investigating.
I appreciate your candor on that point. I think that's a really important point that we look at. Again, one of my concerns is we look at overall crypto policy, shifting away from this specific bankruptcy, is that we have a large number of crypto companies that have chosen to domicile outside the United States rather than inside the United States, and a lack of a regulatory framework inside the United States. My concern is that's moving people to be offshore. And when they're offshore, when a fraud like this occurs, it's to the detriment of Americans who place their money in trust of a company like FTX. I appreciate you being here, cognizant of my time.
Do I need to explain what you just heard? Do I need to explain what you just heard? I don't think I do. Because the new Bahamian, we're on the level. We're on another level. If this scandal doesn't break the Progressive Liberal Party and the F&M's chokehold on this country and end the corruption that we have, call for an early election, and Bahamians don't deserve anything in the future. We deserve to lose this country because we ain't serious. There's another one. I want you to hear it. So you heard that. There's no transparency. They're shocked at the way the Bahamian government is behaving. They're shocked at the way the Bahamian government is acting like they have something to hide, like they're the ones interfering. You heard them. That the Bahamian government is undermining what is going on. That there seems to be some hiding and ducking and dodging going on. This is what they're saying in Congress. And I can tell you that I'm talking to international people, persons not only in the United States but in other nations. And they are not seeing this the way the PLP and our compromised media is selling this to the Bahamian people. Oh, this is just another company would close down. No, it's not. There's commingling. All of the properties the transactions was by Allison Maynard. Allison Maynard, a law firm, wasn't just a law firm. They also had shares in the companies. The government came out and said, "Oh, there's only one company regulated." It's like, don't look at all these other companies because that's where we hiding the money is being hidden through the properties. The fact that they kept saying, "Oh, only one company is regulated," it makes the international community suspicious. Like, hold on. Why you keep trying to make us look at this one company when they put the properties in these other companies? Is the prime minister trying to help? As I said to you, the PLP heard that we were bringing an airplane full, over 50, and it was a private jet, not Bahamas Air. Jet already paid for and everything. Over 50 crypto investors, crypto millionaires, landing, coming for what's theirs. They knew something had to happen. They had a little secret meeting and they said, "Well, we can't let Lincoln them pull that off." And they realized that, hold on, this thing is in Congress, they're going to ask some serious questions in Congress, as you've seen there. And I'm going to play another one for you right now. They're going to ask some serious questions in Congress. And we can't let him be questioned by Congress. See, the media is one thing, because we could set that up. We could stage that. Let's get Jerome Sawyer to ask him nothing. But Congress, they're going to eat him. And he may say the wrong thing. And so they chose to arrest him the day before he's supposed to appear before Congress. And the international community is looking at that sideways right now. There's media stories on it right now. The fact that our government chose to arrest him. This indictment isn't new. This seal indictment, this didn't just happen yesterday, or day before yesterday, or the day before that. So don't let them trick you to make you feel like, oh, they had to do it because no. This is a massive cover-up. Let's watch this other one so you can see what the international community is saying, and you can see what they're not gonna cover in our media.
Is now recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, and thank you for coming here to testify today, Mr. Ray. I have a lot to get through, so I'm going to try to get these answers as quickly as possible. I want to put together a little bit of a timeline of this collapse between November 12th and yesterday. On November 2nd, we have CoinDesk leaking these balance sheets. On the 8th, Binance signs a non-binding letter to acquire FTX, and Bankman-Fried freezes or pauses withdrawals from FTX. I would like to submit to the record your declaration to the U.S. Bankruptcy Court, or FTX's declaration to the U.S. Bankruptcy Court that was filed yesterday. Now, on November 9th, the day after those assets were frozen, Binance announced it would not go through with the purchase, and according to this filing, the same day, Bankman-Fried emailed the Bahamian Attorney General with an offer. That offer stated that he would offer to unfreeze withdrawals just for Bahamian customers on FTX, quote, so they can tomorrow fully withdraw all their assets. Correct? Is that correct?
Yes.
Now on November 10th, FTX DM, the next day, was placed into a foreign provisional liquidation in the Bahamas, correct?
Correct.
The next morning. Now, after that, Bankman Fried then made good on his offer, on his previous day's offer, in that email to the Bahamian AG, opening withdrawals just in the Bahamas for a period of 25.5 hours. Is that correct?
Correct.
Now, during that period, $100 million was withdrawn in the Bahamas from FTX by 1,500 individuals, correct?
Correct.
And this was the day before you were set to take over. So he was still in control. This was like right before he was supposed to hand this off. Now, I think what we have here is that, rather afterwards, on November 12th, we have what Congressman Dean was just asking about with this additional minting, these questions around this additional minting. And then on November 16th, the Bahamian appointed joint provisional liquidators did something very interesting. They came here to the United States Bankruptcy Court and sought an entry to recognize the Bahamian liquidation as the main foreign proceeding. Would that additional control be of any potential value to Mr. Bankman Fried for that Bahamian proceeding to be the main one?
Well, clearly, there seemed to be an effort by the Gaming Commission to get control of the bankruptcy process, and I think that was evident by their filing, which, by the way, was made up in New York, not Delaware.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for that correction. Now, did you uncover any evidence that demonstrates that this window, that 25.5-hour window, opened in exchange for any consideration offered to Mr. Bankman Fried by the Bahamian Attorney General or any state official, including a promise to initiate liquidation proceedings which might offer a path towards Mr. Bankman Fried retaining some control or influence over FTX.com?
We intend to investigate that very thing.
Thank you very much. Now I'd like to dig into a little bit of the timeline of yesterday. Yesterday, you filed that same declaration that revealed some of this explosive information. What time did you file this?
That was
around what time?
Yeah, 3 or 4 o'clock.
Around 3 or 4 o'clock. Now, when you file this information, that essentially discloses that you are sharing this information, and it discloses that to opposing counsel, correct?
Yes, we docket it, and the world knows about it.
Now, if opposing counsel essentially becomes notified of this, that would mean that Bankman Fried and potentially Bahamian officials would have been potentially privy to that information starting around 3 or 4 p.m., correct?
Correct.
What time was Mr. Bankman Fried arrested yesterday?
I believe it was in the early evening hours after 4 o'clock.
So I believe it was
7 o'clock, perhaps.
It was in the evening after that filing.
6, 7 o'clock, yes.
I would like to submit to the record the statement from the Attorney General of the Bahamas issued yesterday on the arrest of Mr. Samuel Bankman Fried. And after submitting that to the record, I would like to note that in this statement, they stated at such time as a formal request for extradition is made, presumably by the Southern District of New York, but they do not state when that request for extradition was made. Do you believe that information is important for us to understand in order to piece together a timeline, Mr. Ray?
Yes, sir. I certainly don't have that full timeline, and that's something that we look forward to learning.
Thank you very much.
Oh, they talked about the communications with the attorney between the attorney general and well, Anderson Maynard and all these people in the letter. This is the email here, all right. And so if you look closely, I know it's a little small, but if you watch this on your TV, you can see it. If you're on your phone, just turn your phone sideways, and that's how we do it, so you can see all of the comments from everywhere. So here you can see it says to Ryan Pinder. It's from Sam Bankman Fried, And this is November 10th, 2022, 10 a.m. And it says, from Sam Bankman-Fried to Ryan Pinder, Joe Bankman, Can's son, Ryan Salome, Constance, and they have their email, so they redacted it. Constance at whatever. Crowley at whatever. Allison is Allison Maynard Gibson. All right. So, conversations. All right. Conversations. And so this is the email as alleged to be between him and them. So he's having conversation with Ryan. Like, who has access to the attorney general like that? Why would he have access to the attorney general? To be sending emails to the attorney generals, the attorney general. Shouldn't he be trying to talk to the SEC if he wants to do something like this? Why is he talking directly to Ryan Pinder? And you see, what I want you all to understand, and it's important for you all to understand this. While y'all think that they are focusing on Sam Bankman-Fried, the international community is focused on the Bahamian government. Our actions. Yeah, and I took that on too. Because that's us. They're making all us look bad. Y'all think that the focus is just Sam Bankman-Fried. Do you hear the questioning? They focus on the Bahamian government. Y'all awake yet? This ain't making our news. I sure the whole Bahamian media watch this today. None of them played what I'm playing for you right now. Now, let's go back in the email. This email, which shows that the man have access to Attorney General. So he ain't write the SEC, which is the governing body that's dealing with him and his business. He writes directly. How much of y'all have Ryan Pinder email? Y'all live in the Bahamas. How much of y'all have his email? The digital assets have nothing to do with the Attorney General. Why would he be writing to the Attorney General? Why? Let's keep going. That means you have access to politicians. He says, hi all. I'm really sorry about the delayed response here. It's been a hectic week. And look, are we talking to Attorney General and the rest of them? This Attorney General Allison Maynard. So there's a crew. He say, hi all. Hey crew. This is crew. Hi all. His crew is Ryan Pinder, Allison Maynard, Joe Bankman, that's his daddy, Can's son, Ryan Salome, Constance, and C. Roll. Hi all. I'm really sorry about the delayed response here. In fact, he was responding to something. I'm really sorry about the delayed response here. It's been a hectic week, but that's on me. That's on me. Myself and Joe, that's his daddy. And I heard his daddy was in the court today, not locked up. Someone go lock up his daddy, please. Brave. Y'all didn't listen to me when I said to lock up Sam. Go lock up Sam, daddy. He's in town. Y'all want me to tell you where he's staying? Some of the properties in his name. He says, myself and Joe, that's his daddy. Who's called their daddy Joe? Joe. Myself and Joe, who is CC'd. So in other words, my daddy in here, my daddy with all the connections, will be responsive going forward. So him and his daddy will be responsive going forward. So in other words, his daddy is mixed up in this. And I'm also deeply sorry for ending up in this position in the first place. Oh, Lord. He's sorry for ending up in this position. Let me see if I get the next page. Where am I? Make sure it's the right one. Yes. He says, I'll give the answers I can give right now and try to get to the others ASAP. Right now, we are focused on one thing. So, in other words, before this crash, he's saying Ryan and Allison them knew because he sent them an email. Now, they could say they didn't receive it, but come on. This is before everything hit the fan. He says, right now, we are focused on one thing, making customers whole. We are focused exclusively on doing that this week. We are ceasing all non-essential operations beyond that. So he doesn't know they was ceasing all non-essential operations. He said, I am doing everything I can to try to do right by our customers. Number two, he says, I have not briefed the Securities Commission. Oh, he didn't talk to Securities Commission. So the body that is his licensing body that he should be communicating with, that he should be talking to, he didn't talk to them. He talking to Ryan and Allison. You get it? Someone please tell me y'all get it. He say, I haven't talked to the Securities Commission. I would be more than happy to have a phone call with you, this Ryan Pinder, the PM. Sorry, for those international watching this, Ryan Pinder is the Attorney General. So he said, I would be more than happy to have a phone call with you, meaning the Attorney General Ryan Pinder, the PM, and the Securities Commission of Bahamas in the next few days to give a thorough overview of the situation. So listen, this dude making plans to talk to y'all Prime Minister, and y'all can't get to see the Prime Minister. I'll talk to him in a couple of days. Yeah, everything is falling apart, but you know what? I'm busy right now. I'm sipping sipping on some scissor on the beach, and I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you and the Prime Minister in a couple of days. Huh? And he said I'll give you a overview of the situation. So this fella talking to our people. He says, I am cautiously optimistic that we will be able to survive the turmoil and have enough liquidity for all customer withdrawals. And this is my sole focus this week. So he's cautiously optimistic that they'll survive this turmoil. You know how he described it? Turmoil. Now remember, he's responding to Ryan Pinder. This is a late response. So does this mean that Ryan Pinder knew about the turmoil? He said we'll be able to drive the turmoil and have enough liquidity for all customer withdrawals, and that is my sole focus this week. I will keep you guys updated. In other words, they know that they didn't have enough money for customers withdrawal at this time. According to this. 4. We are investigating a more thorough answer to this question. We did not intend to, but are concerned that poor risk management led to a liquidity issue. Poor risk management. No, sir. You was taking the money and buying property with Allison Maynard them. And Allison CC'd in this, and she'd know that. As you saw, Binance did not end up following through on their transaction. However, we are in the middle of a separate process to make users whole. A separate process. Notice whenever you see politicians, these people talk like that, general terms, I mean, they lie in. All right, a separate process. What process? What are you talking about? To make users whole. We will know within a week if that comes through. So far, we have strong indications of interest that would be more than enough to cover all liquidity needs. We are working on confirming those. I am cautiously optimistic that we will be able to. You're always cautiously optimistic. He should have been cautiously optimistic when he was doing what he's doing. Number 6, we are deeply grateful for what the Bahamas has done for us and deeply committed to it. We are also deeply sorry about this mess. As a part of this, we have segregated funds for all Bahamian customers on FTX. What Bahamian customers? Bahamians weren't allowed to be a part of this. So apparently this crew that Brave them put together to give special access, because when you all try to do Forex or crypto, etc., you all got to go through all kind of back doors and loop the loop and all kind of stuff. So who are these special Bahamians who had access to this? This sound like Allison and Brave them crew. This sound like the PLP crew. They've segregated funds for all Bahamian customers on FTX and would be more than happy to open up withdrawals for all Bahamian customers on FTX, so that they can tomorrow fully withdraw all of their assets, making them fully whole. Wow. It's your call whether you want us to do this, but we are more than happy to and would consider it the very least of our duty to the country, and could open it up immediately if you reply saying you want us to. If we don't hear back from you, we are going to go ahead and do it tomorrow. The international community, the Congress, etc., the lawmakers, the investigators are investigating the Bahamian government, not just Sam Bankman-Fried. Now, this is my biggest concern with this whole thing. Normally, when they catch high-ranking politicians and stuff like this, especially international ones, they don't prosecute them. They don't go against them in that way. What they do is use it against them. They hold it over their heads to say, listen, we got this on you. When we go to the UN again, this is the vote we want. We need this special favor in your country, eh? We need this, we need that. You could do what we say, you are now our puppet. And so we'll help you cover this up. And that's what happens a lot of times when you're dealing with international persons. And so that's a concern for some persons also. Not to say this is going to happen, but that has been the case in many instances. Hey, Brave, we got you. This is what we want. And we can make this go away if you just do what we say. That's a major concern. That's a major concern. And so I just want you all to see the real atmosphere of this thing. This is not a video. This one is a little shorter. But I just want you all to see the thinking, how they're looking at the Bahamas, how they're focusing on the Bahamas, how their investigation is on the Bahamas government, the Bahamas officials, and what's going on in this country. I want you all to think their focus is Sam. Watch this one.
Accounting system that actually works. This should be a really big red flag for all of us who are in the financial services world with regards to the Chinese investments that we're making, and we're not able to get accounting information on those firms. What else is going on with those firms, similar to what the debacle is that we have here with FTX? That's just a sideline comment. One of the questions I've got is with regards to the Farmington State Bank. This is an investment that Alameda made into, and it's a little bitty bank, according to a New York Times article. State of Washington, 26th smallest bank out of 4,800 in the country. They bought it in 2020, had a net worth of $5.7 million, and they dropped $11.5 million in for a percentage of the ownership. Do you know off the top of your head what the percentage of ownership was in that bank that they purchased?
I believe that ownership was approximately 10%, but I can.
Okay, that's what I've heard too. So therefore, they paid 20 times book, which is off the charts outrageous. So it should be a red flag over the place. Yet they were able to purchase that, even though it's a minority interest, but 20 times book. FDIC allowed that to happen. They changed names to Moonstone Bank. And since then, they've 4 separate accounts have dropped to roughly $71 million, again, according to FDIC data and according to this article. Have you looked at this relationship at all yet to see what's going on here and whether there's any irregularities at all?
We are looking at it. It certainly is one of the things that came to our attention fairly quickly. We're looking at what the dollars were that went from the FTX group to that bank, and we're looking at the connections of that bank to the Bahamas.
Is it the way this all transacted here? Is this common, by the way?
Hold on. I want you to notice he said that connection to the Bahamas. Not just the Sam. He's looking at that connection, this bank. That connection to the Bahamas. So the financial community, y'all could sit down and say, let's stand with Brave and cover this up. And that's going to somehow save the reputation of the Bahamas. Let's defend the country. I heard Crazy Thompson in the House of Assembly saying we got to do more to protect our reputation. To protect our reputation, grab the guilty, whether it's Allison Maynard, whoever it is, and throw them overboard. Prosecute them, and then that will help our reputation. Not covering up for them. Crazy Thompson, Michael Pintard. The government and the opposition is working together on this. Don't mind them asking questions. They're not doing what we are doing. They have access to everything I'm telling you, And they're the PAC. Michael Pintard right now, as the leader of the PAC, can call a select committee to find out everything that is going on as relates to the government's possible connection to FTX. Michael Pintard and the Free National Movement can do that right now. They are the Public Accounts Committee. They can find out if any of our money been involved with it, if anything untoward been going on. And in fact, they can also call for a commission of inquiry right now. Pintard them can do that. Worst case scenario, they might come and say, because they heard me say this, oh, we're calling for a commission of inquiry, but they ain't never push for it. Pinlin had a commission of inquiry when he was the government. The opposition called for a commission of inquiry. In 1984, he was the prime minister. He had to have this commission of inquiry. The UBP had a commission of inquiry while they were in government. And that's how the scandal about Grand Bahama came out of Freeport and how they got paid off to sell out Freeport. And so not because Brave and Power mean there can't be a commission of inquiry. We need a commission of inquiry now. But guess what? Pintard them can do it. Wasting your time. Let's hear the rest of what this man had to say. Let me just put it back a little bit so y'all could hear what he had to say.
Is it the way this all transacted here? Is this common, by the way, that they purchase businesses and dump excessive amounts of money based on the fact they had it, whether it was a good investment or not, and all these different companies? I mean, this looks like a really excessive investment to actually go out and buy a bank to be able to do something with it, stuff it full of money. So I don't know, is there money laundering going on here? Is there some missing dollars? Is somebody stuffing away something in their back pocket to be able to at some point down the road take off with it? Is that what's going on here? I mean, it begs a lot of questions here when you see this kind of activity.
Well, there's a lot more questions than there are answers. Certainly it's highly irregular, and it's what's gotten our attention.
Well, I thank you for your comments this morning, and it's concerning when you see this sort of lack of accounting and you see somebody dealing in this sort of level of money, and there's lots of different companies where money shifts back and forth, and you wonder, by living offshore in the Bahamas, if there's not some faraway bank account that's being stuffed with money we'll never ever find. I hope you do your job and do it well, Mr. Ray. Thank you for being here this morning.
Lord. So someone says, we don't need a commission of inquiry. I actually agree with you. You're right. I'm just telling you the power that the opposition have. And this is why they're afraid of me persons like myself from Maria Doxson in House of Assembly. This is why they were terrified. This is why they mess up those ballot boxes and stole the election in Pinewood to stop me from getting in the House, because they know every member of Parliament has certain powers, and they know that I know these powers, and they know that they would have had hell right now if I were in that House of Assembly keeping them in check. Pinewood, I asking y'all for one chance. Put Lincoln being in the House of Assembly and watch me keep them in check. Watch me keep them in check. You can take the people of Pinewood to this. You got family and friends in Pinewood, talk to them. Tell them this time, we got to do something different. But do you see the conversation there? I'm going to open the phone lines. I'm going to open the phone lines and let y'all call in. The phone number is 803-5995. 803-5995 is the phone number. Call in, man. Let me hear what y'all have to say about this. There's more I have to show you all. There's more documents I have. I have all the Miami Heat documents and all this kind of stuff. There's a lot going on with this. I have all the property documents and everything. I can't go into all it because the live will be too long. 803-5995. Y'all call me and tell me what y'all have to say, man. How do y'all feel about that court case that went down today? How do y'all feel about the fact that there was this whole Congress hearing, this whole Congress hearing that really seems to be focused highly on the Bahamas, and our media isn't touching that. It's like, ooh, y'all, let's just pretend like this isn't happening. Y'all just pretend like they just love us, and y'all just ignore everything. And let's send the trolls on social media to just attack Lincoln. Start talking to him, talking about him. That's the only way we gotta. That's the only way. They're still thinking like we're in the 60s and 70s, man, where you could cover stuff up. That ain't gonna work in this generation. This is the information age. You can't cover nothing up in this generation. 803-5995. Okay, see the phone going off. Let me get that. I think I don't do not disturb. Sorry about that. Good night, you're live.
From what I watched today on the show,
yes,
it seems like some intention. Some from what I read and gathered, and from that email that I read, it's like he knew what he was doing. It wasn't no mistake or no accident, and he was sorry. It's like he intentionally knew what he was doing.
Man, he came into the Bahamas to pay off politicians. That's what he came here for, and to get their assistance to hide what he has. And so the suspicion of the international community is that there's more hidden that we don't even know about. And if you watch there, and you'll see that there's more hidden. You see? And that's what the concern is.
I believe this Robert will go deep, because from what I say, all I'm saying, I'm just sitting back and I'm gonna watch this unfold. And if you ask me, they send him in Fox in prison, they arrest him and put him there. Boy, I tell you no lie, I feel concerned about Sam up there. Because remember some years ago, this Colombian drug cartel fella they arrested or something like that on drug charges, some serious heavy drug charges, and he just disappeared out of Fox prison. Do you recall?
Yep.
All right, so either Sam will just disappear like thin air, or something will happen to him. I really feel concerned. I see a dead man can't talk.
Yeah.
You know? A dead man can't talk, because I think this thing goes so deep. Sam got this, so they so entangled with this, and Sam could call names. Sam could call names and bring down a whole house of cards. I really
it's a
feel concerned
catch-22
about
for them. If something happened to Sam, it's going to be obvious that our government is complicit. If they say, oh, he just had a heart attack in the cell because someone just bring him some pills, I know how they know that's his pills or why he should be taking this or whatever. But anything could happen in there. They could say, oh, his inmate beat him up or try to rape him or whatever, and he just was found dead. If anything happens to Sam, let me tell you something. It is gonna make our government look bad.
Yeah, but even if it make our government look bad, what would come out of it?
Yeah, nothing.
Exactly. People need. I want Sam to stay alive so he could talk, so he could bring up all the emails and voice notes and whatever and play them before Congress in the United States and in the court in the United States. So these officials over here could be arrested and get taken down also, because if he dead, he get harmed, or ain't nothing gonna happen. They can try. This crew, they'll throw their one man under the bus to save their skin.
Listen, man, that has been their MO for a very long time. That they will get these fellas and the fellas end up locked up or dead. They've been shut down or whatever it is after they didn't suck all their money, and they end up with the money. Like the previous Sam, who ended up, in the United States, extradited. He wasn't supposed to be extradited. All the judge do is scold the government, the PLP government, and tell them, that should never happen again. But I mean, come on. But Sam left that Sam in Nani knows left some money here. Where's that money? Someone ended up in it. Arachi was gone. Arachi had some stuff left here. Who ended up with it? And Brave Davis was in Arachi building. Brave Davis was managing his building. I went dealing with a business. We wanted to rent a building, and we went to rent that building. Nobody sent us the Brave Davis office to rent Arachi building. All right, which Brave Davis office was on the property. All right, Brave Davis office is on the property. You see? So who ended up with that? You see? So this is the kind of stuff that they're covering up and hiding. This is the kind of MO that we've been dealing with, the corruption we've been dealing with in this country for too long. All right, remember the Weisfish brothers case? I see the PLP started talking about what case I had where a woman say she do investment or whatever, but they wouldn't want to talk about. They don't ever want to talk about the Weisfish brothers and the $100 million that it was alleged that Philip Brave Davis misappropriated by taking the shares of that company, $100 million, and that he offered the fellas, the brothers, our crown land to pay it back.
Right.
This is the kind of scandalous skullduggery that these government officials see. This ain't just his private business. When you try to take our crown land to pay them back,
right,
that's when this ain't your personal business.
Right.
You see? And so we gotta stand up as a people and say that we're tired of this corruption. Because every election, these same politicians, these cult leaders get rich, they benefit, they have you walking up and down North Sun and they cut you off, you get nothing. All right? And then, they move on, let their friends take over the F&M or the PLP, and then they enjoy their money for 5 years, till time for them to come back again. We got to stop this cycle.
I serious. It's like right now this need to stop. And I look at this. I just watching God Hans and all of this just pull down this whole house of God. I think it can be before this year out. I think all our jaw will drop open with the facts that will be revealing and everything. But I watching sitting back.
Yeah.
And I hope right now we need change in this country, because there's no way this country could survive like this. We'll end up on the scrap heap of failed states if it's keep going on.
And by the way, I need to send a message to Brave them. Tell them send one bean bag for Sam in Fox LA.
Yeah, because I'm ground up their heart.
Yeah. All right, thank you, man. All right. So look at these beautiful friends. 803-5995 is the number. 803-5995. 803-5995 is the number if you want to call in. There's so much for us to talk about as it relates to this. But like I said in the beginning of this, we were organizing. Oh, let me just get this phone call and talk about that. Good afternoon, you're live.
Hi, Lincoln. I have some real concerns. I've been watching for a bit, right? I recall, like, when you went to present the white paper, and I noticed the aggression with the armed forces. And right after this FTX thing imploded, and then when I watched today, the aggression of the officers, and everybody's, all the officers have these long rifle guns or whatever they have around the court to shoot who, to do what around the court today. Could you please explain to us what is going on in our country? I've never seen anything like this.
What is going on is that we are a banana republic. We have leaders who were born in the 50s running this country. All right? Leaders who were born in the 50s running this country. And so they have a certain mentality that they grew up in, and that's still stuck on them. You see, your culture and where you grew up, that sticks with you, you know. That's why, you know, older people still call Market Street Farm Road. And some people of our age, we could be calling Tony William Darling Highway Harold Road for a long time because that's stuck in us. All right? That's what we used to. They are used to the way things was in the 50s and 60s and 70s when they was coming up, when that was their heyday. And in those days, you ruled with an iron hand. You ruled with an iron fist. People were victimized. All right? The people who grew up under that PLP administration, you were victimized. All right, the same thing under the UDP. You were victimized. People forget it now because some of that has calmed down, although it's a victimization in a different way.
We can tell by the court case today, something is terribly wrong.
Yes.
The way they brought him to the court, how they brought him to court. Criminals are criminals. People come to the court, they come to court. You come through the front door. All this escort, what's with all the police?
And you mentioned yes. You mentioned you mentioned the white paper. All right, this sorry.
Right.
You mentioned oh Lord, there's a phone ringing around me. I'm sorry about that. So you mentioned this white paper, but I just want to make it clear for people because people don't understand that a white paper is just a paper that has a suggestion and an idea, a proposal, a plan of how you're going to do something. This is the actual bill that we presented that they call the white paper. All right, and so this is the actual bill that we presented. This is an immigration bill to save and preserve our citizenship and stop it from being sold out and stop anyone from benefiting. I just want to make that clear because a lot of people don't understand when y'all gave a white paper. That's not we delivered them. We delivered a bill already drafted, perfectly drafted to the House of Assembly. And you can see the aggression by the police. The police are used as political prostitutes. And the previous commissioner admitted that. He was the first one to actually admit that he was used and made to do things he did not want to do. All right? And so that's what's been going on. And so they use a hard hand towards you. They break the laws. They break the Constitution. They break your constitutional rights in order to keep themselves in power and do whatever it is they want to do. What happened at the magistrate court today should never have happened. They embarrassed us internationally and made us look like a banana republic. They made us look bad. How could you shut down a whole magistrate court for one man who getting a charge before the court? That's one man.
Exactly.
He's not he's not like Bin Laden or Samuel 99. They didn't shut down the court for him, who was a real gangster and terrorist. All right, you shutting down the courts with all his guns and stuff for one white collar criminal.
Yep. Look like they're going Gestapo on us now.
And intentionally waiting until the sun goes down to bring him out. Intentionally waiting until the sun go down.
Wow.
Hindering the media from doing their jobs. This government, I told you all that this government is becoming an authoritarian state, a totalitarian state. Fascism is their way. And we have to fight this.
What we saw today was unreal. That's all I have to say. I mean, I could ask you 300 questions, but I just wanted to know this court thing today was unreal.
Yeah.
Never seen anything like this in my whole entire life. I hope the Bahamian people stand up. We cannot allow this government. This baby's got to go. I'm sorry, he has to go.
You see, but what he does is he does some neat things every so often to just pacify them with crumbs. All right? He'll say, okay, we're going to give the teachers a little bit of raise. Man, let's come on, man. Ain't crumbs. All right? Let's sign something with the union. You know,
yes.
He gives crumbs to keep people pacified, to be satisfied, while they're signing over a multi-trillion-dollar carbon credit situation. You know, they're keeping you pacified. You see? While they take all the money.
Well, Lincoln, I want to ask you one more question.
Go ahead.
The United States have jurisdiction in the Bahamas so they can come and get Sam in the next 60 days? Or what's going to happen there?
Well, they have to go to the courts, and so they are going to have him extradited. He's going to appeal. He does not want to go. He did not waive his rights to go to fight extradition. he does not want to be extradited, and he is going to fight to stay in the Bahamas with the people he paid off allegedly. And so that's what he is going to do. And so he wants to stay here. He's comfortable here. So if the criminal comfortable with the Bahamian people, not the Bahamian people, the Bahamian government, that should tell you that that's his people. It's like when you have a daughter, right? She reaching of age, but she always will hang out with a particular auntie because she gets slackness by the house. That could tell you that's the house you don't need her to. She won't be there because she gets slackness there. You see?
So you already gave us another eye opener. At least I didn't know Sam Bankman Sam had residency. How long was this?
We don't know when he got his residency. We don't know details of anything. As you heard them say in the Congress today, the Bahamian government is not being transparent about anything. And they've never experienced this before. They are being closed, secretive, and they are not helping in any way. Now, you heard them say, oh, they're going to work with this and they're going to have this and that. They said in Congress today, the Bahamian government is not being transparent and not helping, not assisting. They are blocking and closing doors, and they are undermining the process.
Yep. Obviously, there's a lot going on, and we can all see it now.
We needed to break this cycle of the PLP and FNM and their corruption. I think this is the opportunity for us to get some outside help to do just that.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Well, you keep it up, all right?
I will. And all we're doing is asking the Bahamian people to stand with us. I'm willing to go there and take the bullets. Taking this kind of stance means, it's hard for me to even do my own business in the Bahamas because they're going to block everything I do. You open a business and try to get your light on, they can block that. They're going to block everything. And so this is a real sacrifice for me and Maria and other persons involved. I'm Charlotte, who's a real trooper, and who's sacrificing everything, to do this and to continue because she loves this country. But this is a real sacrifice for us. I don't want y'all to take for granted the kind of sacrifices on behalf of the Bahamian people. It's a real sacrifice. And all we asking is to stand with us, to help fund the movement, to help us do what we're doing.
I just want to end by saying, we'll touch one of y'all, they will touch all of us. And that's what I'm going to say, and I'm going to end it right there.
Amen. Thank you. Appreciate your call. And so, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, this is a serious fight against corruption, and this is the last leg. This is the leg before the transformation, and our country is about to be transformed, and this is what we're fighting for, and we're not giving up. We're not giving up on that. The new Bahamas is right at our doorsteps. The new Bahamas is here, ladies and gentlemen. So help is on the way, and so some millionaires and billionaires have said that they're ready to see a new Bahamas. And so help is on the way. But we can need your help to get there. Right? We can need all of your help in order to get there. So please stand with us. Fund the movement. We have a GoFundMe. Go to our GoFundMe page. If you don't like putting your card on the internet, which a lot of you don't, you can go to our head office between the hours of 11 to 4, Monday to Thursday. And you can assist us. You can go to our website, coalitionofindependence.com, and you can assist us. You can send stars right here on Facebook. You can send stars on Facebook. Even after this is over, if you're watching on YouTube, you can go to Facebook, look at the video, and send some stars that'll help us. It's 1 cent for every star. So we have to get these people out. They are being exposed. I am praying right now that they don't even make it to the next 3 years and 9 months. That they will not make it to the next 3 years, 9 months, that they are forced to call an early election, and that they must go. And so we thank all of the international community that is investigating the Bahamas, and hopefully that is how we can get this done. Too much corruption. We're tired of the corruption, and we gotta see change. All right, we gotta see change, and we're going to see change. All right, we're going to see change. So please, we need your help. It's too much corruption. This has been going on since before many of us was born, before I was born. All right, I was born in the late 70s, and this corruption was going on from then, before I was born. So we need change. So make sure you're there. So this is the Christmas period. I think we could throw one more blow. We're trying to decide exactly how we're going to do it. But there's some people who really want to see change in this country, and we're going to stand with them. We're going to stand with them to make this happen and to get this done. So go and watch. If you haven't watched, when this is over, take the time. I know you might not be able to watch all tonight. Go and watch that hearing and hear how they're talking about our country. And after watching that, if you still want to support these corrupt politicians, good luck. Good luck. Good luck. These trolls who are getting paid on social media to spread this message, listen, don't pet them up. Reject them strongly. They are paid political trolls who hate our nations, who would say anything for a couple of dollars. It's time to stand up, y'all. It's time to stand up. All right, so I'm going to end it there for now. I'm going to end it there for now. I'm going to end this with, of course, a video from Bankman. I'm going to let you see that again so you could remember the corruption that we need to now get rid of. Man, if we've been sitting in this filth for so long, at some point we got to get out of this. At some point, we got to get from wallowing in this mud. At some point, we got to get out of the wilderness and we got to cross over into the promised land. We are not there yet. And this government is trying to sell out what can get us into the promised land. They're trying to get rid of our natural resources and our carbon credits. Ladies and gentlemen, we can transform the lives of all Bahamians just with our natural resources. We don't have to depend on anybody. It belongs to us. We ain't begging nobody for nothing. This is ours. This is ours. This is ours. This is ours. So strengthen me. Pray for me. This is a challenging journey. I have my own issues to deal with. And, you know, we're out there fighting for the whole world. Pray for us to strengthen us, myself, Maria, etc., etc. I want to say this before I go. You know, I am extremely disheartened when I see what is happening with the price of groceries in this country. For the last couple of weeks, I've been, not a couple of weeks, not that long, but a week, I've been in the United States. And I go in the food store and I see the difference. You know, it breaks my heart when I see the difference. It doesn't have to be that different. Some of the prices I see in the regular stores like Winn-Dixie and Publix, Super Value could literally buy from Winn-Dixie and Publix and sell it double the price, sell in the Bahamas and still make a profit. Why the prices are so high in the Bahamas is mind-blowing. Now, I don't hold any water for Super Value. I think that they could, you know, do better. They shouldn't have that monopoly, and we got to transform that and make that change in the future. But I will tell you that the Progressive Liberal Party is distracting you by making Rupert Roberts the big bad wolf and the bad guy in all of this, when it is not necessarily just Rupert Roberts. The reason that your food prices are so high is because of the policies of this government. They put VAT on the bread basket item. So you're showing, like recently, they showed the price of some eggs. I wonder if I have that here. They showed the price of some eggs, right? And some one of the political trolls did a voice note talking about the price of eggs is six something. All right, the price of eggs is six something, they say, and they were mashing up Rupert Roberts saying it don't have to be six something. All right, but they didn't say that with VAT is actually seven something. But they didn't bother. They didn't bother to mention that with VAT is actually seven something. They didn't mention the seven something because they didn't want you to have that discussion. Because the price of VAT causes the price of everything to raise. You see, when they put VAT on bread basket items, that hits you. That hits the price of everything. All right. Even when you go to Wendy's, some of their products are bread basket items, and they have to raise their prices because it was raised. All right? Whenever one thing raises, it hits us in food. Let me give you an example. The price of electricity is going up. Super Value uses electricity. For example, this is done for example. So if the price of electricity goes up, how is Super Value going to cover that? They are going to use what they sell, that's food. And so they are going to put it into the price of the groceries. And so if Brave Davis raise the price of electricity, what happens? The price of groceries go up. This is the effect when you have visionless leaders. This is the effect. So now when they raise the price of vehicles, for example, how many vehicles does Super Value have? I'm just giving you examples. How many vehicles does Super Value have? All of these vehicles, these trucks, these trailers, all these stuff that they have, all of them have to be licensed. All of them. And so guess what? When the price raises, it is raised in our food. And so everything that the government does is reflective in our food. So they can tell you all they want, oh, he's raising the price of this and this and that. So yeah, a smaller store mightn't have as much expenses as Super Value, which has more locations, more staff, etc., etc. So they might not raise the price of their eggs as much as Super Value did. So I'm not defending Super Value, but what I'm saying is it is the policies of Philip Brave Davis and this visionless New Day government that caused the price of eggs to raise the way it did. Bahamas, are y'all ready to wake up? We don't need VAT. They're playing with you. Someone says my audio is acting up. They're breaking me up. Let me see what I could do about that. I hope we could do something about that. Oh, it's good now. Okay, awesome. So ladies and gentlemen, they are playing with you. All right. When you put VAT on bread basket items, of course, the amount of money you increase from VAT is going to increase because you don't buy a car every day. You don't buy clothing every day. All right. You don't buy shoes every day. So the things that you would have paid the 12% on before, them reducing it 2%, but then raising 10% on the bread basket items, those are things you use every day. You use bread basket items every single day, whether you buy grocery or you eat the grocery that someone else bought. When you go to Bamboo Shack, they had to buy bread basket items. When you go to, and I love Bamboo Shack, by the way. I just love Bamboo Shack. Whenever I go away, that's the first place I go when I come back home. And Bamboo Grill is amazing on West Bay Street. That's a free commercial because it's just awesome. The product they have on West Bay, Bamboo Shack on West Bay, it's called Bamboo Grill. They got, man, I'll talk about that in another live. It's I love the product, all right? And so they ain't pay me to say that. I am telling you, I love it. But anyway, and Bamboo Breakfast is amazing. But anyway, when you go and eat your breakfast somewhere, you are still contributing to the VAT on bread basket items. And so that's how they tricked all of us. Someone says there's an echo. Okay. Thank you. Well, you got some good producers, eh? Good producers. All right. Thank you all, man. I appreciate it. But I just wanted to say that that's a trick that they were playing on us. And I don't want my baby people falling for that. It's not Rupert Roberts. They're trying to make him the big bad wolf. Rupert Roberts is not the big bad wolf. Brave Davis, who put VAT on bread basket items and on medicine, etc., that's the big bad wolf. Increase your, what do you call it, your fuel surcharge on BEC after saying that they would not let it happen. That's the big bad wolf. All right. So thank you to all of you. So they have me tied. Yes, they actually, there's some other congressional hearings going on where they talked about how they are influencing social media and they are targeting certain persons and trying to keep them from the truth, and they're working they were working to do that. So right now, persons don't get a notification when my live goes on. You have to know that live is on, and it's only through you sharing this that people know, or you come in and looking to see what's going on. All the views we have is people who literally come here to view it. So you're not going to scroll and see Lincoln Bain is live or was live like he used to back in the day. They will not share anything. They're trying to block us and what we're doing. All right. Someone said this young man did not act alone. Listen, man, the Progressive Liberal Party conspired and did this. All right. This is a construct of the Progressive Liberal Party, in my opinion. All right. But anyway, I'm going to, like I said, I'm hanging out with the crypto millionaires, and we're going to see what happens in the next couple of days. I want to thank all of you all for tuning in. But we're not letting this go just like that. All right. Thank you to all of you. God bless you all. I'm going to leave you all with a couple of videos. Spread the message. The only way we're going to get the message out is for you to do it. This isn't based on what I can do. This is what you can do. Spread the message. Spread it. Spread the message. All right. So I'm going to leave you with the words of a dead man to remind you that we've been getting to this corruption from that time. Then I'm going to leave you with the words of some people who have transformed their countries, unqualified people who transformed their country just because they love their country. They made it so that the people benefit from their natural resources. They're telling you I selling dreams. Wake up, Bahamas. And remember, that change ain't coming. Change is here.
280,000, and I separated from him because he said that he was taking that to the Prime Minister.
Under Pinling and Bannister, the Bahamas have become the Cocaine Islands, a smuggler's paradise. Gorman Bannister says his father tipped off drug smugglers on the Bahamian island Norman's Key about planned police raids. And in 1982, Gorman Bannister says he accompanied his father to Colombia, where the two met with one of the world's biggest cocaine bosses, Carlos Later, who is now in jail in Georgia.
My father and I, and Carlos, we walked across the land.
Gorman Bannister says Later told his father about an unsuccessful attempt to kill a member of the Bahamian parliament, Norman Solomon, whose car and house were firebombed when Solomon began investigating drug smuggling on Norman's Key.
Carlos told my father that he bombed Norman's car because Norman tried to depict his Colombian people as dogs and scoundrels.
Solomon was not killed in that bombing.
Unfortunately, from my father's point of view.
What did your father say?
My father said you should have killed him.
On the streets of the Bahamas, there are now many young people who are addicted to cocaine. Gorman Bannister admits he's one of them. And that's one reason he's decided to go against his father and his father's friend, Prime Minister Pinling.
I'm talking about Lyndon Pinling. I'm talking about my father and other people in the hierarchy, but that were below them.
They are corrupt.
I would say so, yes.
You know it as a fact?
Yes.
Are you prepared to talk about that to prosecutors in this country?
If necessary, yes, because it's the truth.
Even if you can't go back to your father, you can't go home?
It's irrelevant. That will always be my father, and I will always love him. But it's time for the truth.
Bannister's father and the Prime Minister have both denied all allegations of corruption. Hours after this interview, Gorman Bannister was placed under the protection of federal agents in Miami, and he is expected to be an important witness in a growing number of cases involving drugs and drug corruption in the Bahamas. Brian Ross, NBC News, Miami.
Before the break, the question put to you was, people still associate you with the past administration that was labeled as corrupt and so forth. Do you believe that is to a negative with your electability? And how do you separate yourself from that and into what many people are now calling for, saying we need new blood? People are now saying we don't want the PLP, we don't want the FNM, they're two of the same. What do you say to that? That is a tough hurdle for any party to overcome. What do you say regarding that?
Well, first of all, I served in the last administration, the Christie administration, as Deputy Prime Minister, with other portfolios. I'm not ashamed of having served for those 5 years, and I can say that, and I say it publicly. Let me just say that the Christie administration did what they thought was best. The priorities and choices made was what they thought and I thought was best at that time. The label of being corrupt, I reject and reject out of hand.
Oh, Lord Jesus.
Because I'm not aware of any of my colleagues in that cabinet having committing any corrupt act.
Are you serious?
I know nothing. Nothing.
Marathon Member of Parliament Jerome Fitzgerald had his emails to Bahamas developer Sarkis Merlion printed in the Tribune newspaper. The emails showed that Fitzgerald sought to lock down Bahamas contracts, which would have gotten his family's company some big bucks. Kyle Joaquin tells us more.
As a Tribune article thrust the MP into the spotlight. The story included alleged email correspondence between Fitzgerald and former Bahamas developer Sarkis Merlion, where it is alleged the cabinet minister reportedly sought to secure millions of dollars in brokerage, trucking, and limousine contracts at Bahamas. Just this past Tuesday, Fitzgerald and Attorney General Alison Maynard Gibson denied having personal business interests in Bahamas. Today, after his nomination, Fitzgerald wouldn't say much on the matter.
I'm going to have a press statement on that later, so I'll respond to that later.
Later today? Or?
Yeah, today, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Some people say you should.
I'll respond to that. I'll respond to that later today.
In one email released by the Tribune, Fitzgerald seeks to solidify a relationship between China State Construction and Bahamas Cargo Limited for BCL, a company owned by Fitzgerald's family, to collect paperwork and clear shipments for the resort. In another email dated May 18, 2013, Fitzgerald writes Merlion requesting a brokerage contract. He writes, as indicated, we are ready to start brokerage and trucking for the Bahamas project and remain the brokers after opening. I would really appreciate it if we could be appointed your official broker for June 2013. But still, no answer from Fitzgerald.
Any other questions? Okay.
Reporters also sought to get a response from Prime Minister Perry Christie.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
To show that he
This is just the latest scandal to rock the Christie administration involving Fitzgerald. The MP was embroiled in controversy last year after he read the private emails of Save the Bay's members in Parliament. And a year before that, the report on the Marathon Rubis fuel spill.
Because I'm not aware of any of my colleagues in that cabinet having committing any corrupt act.
I know nothing. Nothing.
News tonight, the arrest and release of a consul general over the weekend is leading to new opposition claims that the Christie administration is again interfering with the course of justice. In a press statement, the Free National Movement quoted eyewitnesses to the incident who claimed that Bahamas Consul General to Atlanta, Randy Roll, was arrested by police in Bimini last Friday after he used obscenities against officers who would not allow him and his 3 American guests to enter a restricted area which had been cordoned off by police. They claim as a result of his behavior and language, Roll was handcuffed and placed into a police vehicle while one of his female companions repeatedly beat on the police car as he was being driven away. The opposition claims Roll used his one call while in police custody to contact Prime Minister Perry Christie, and that eventually a call was made from the police commissioner to the head of the Bimini police station, followed by Roll's release from custody. The FNM says Prime Minister Perry Christie is now duty-bound to explain to the Bahamian people the circumstances surrounding Roll's arrest and subsequent release. Government has yet to respond.
Because I'm not aware of any of my colleagues in that cabinet having committing any corrupt
Oh, you have got to be kidding me.
act.
Police are still investigating recent claims that Agriculture Minister V. Alfred Gray used his office to secure the release of a convicted man in Mayaguana. The FNM now suggests that abuse of power appears to be systemic within the Progressive Liberal Party. The FNM is calling for a full report on this latest incident to be sent to the Commissioner of Police and made public.
Because I'm not aware of any of my colleagues in that cabinet having committing any corrupt act.
Oh, Lord Jesus.
Mr. Mitchell held a press conference today, accompanied by his attorney, Raynard Rigby, after the comments made in the Senate linking him to the distribution of visas and passports to ineligible applicants. He blamed a Foreign Service officer for the statements, which showed up in a WikiLeaks document which Senator Folks referenced in Parliament yesterday.
Because I'm not aware of any of my colleagues in that cabinet
We're talking.
having committing any corrupt act.
Opposition members objected to those comments on a point of order. However, the Prime Minister cautioned them not to speak too soon as the water and sewage forensic report was to come. Opposition leader Philip Davis responded to that and claims about the termination cause for that lifetime contract.
I'd like you to know that I was advised this morning that I'm named somehow in that. I know nothing about it, right? But I don't, no one is doing me any favor to say to me that my name may appear in a report that's being written. I don't know whether it's adverse to me or not, but what I can say on the record, that no one has spoken to me about anything in relation to Water and Sewage Corporation. And I would have thought that it will be totally unfair for any report to be written about me without speaking to me about it. But I'll read it. I accept that a termination period of 3 years may not be a normal termination period, right? But one has to understand the circumstances under which that term was agreed.
Where the heathens go, I walk away from the sinking sand. The wicked man up here, corruption. My people have had enough. Them said them want the good stuff, no more corruption.
You know, a lot of people wonder how Dubai became a very big, famous and rich city.
You see, if you're comparing with Nigeria, listen to this. Nigeria has oil before than Dubai. It's a history. They are more rich than us. They have agriculture, they have mining, they have everything, you name it, they have it. Am I right or wrong? When you have a true leadership, which we have nothing, but we have everything because we have the right leadership. That's the only thing you need, a right leader for your country, not corruption. That's what brings your country at the top. You don't need anything. We want water, we don't have agriculture, we don't have mining.
That's quite interesting.
And that's Sheikh Mohammed. Number one, he doesn't know number two, he needs only number one. He says, I don't know, there's no number two in my book, only number one.
I hear he doesn't ride in a convoy.
I don't know how you did this in 50 years. You look at history. Who does this? Show me anybody else that has done this in 50 years. I'm waiting. Show them to me. This wasn't done by money. Money doesn't produce visions. Visions produce money. You've had leadership over here that were visionaries, great visionaries, and their vision was more about the people than the money, because you can't accomplish this in 50 years without loving your people first, because the people are the ones that's benefiting from this. Look at your health care, look at your road system, look at your highway system, look at your airports. Who does this in 50 years? But who benefits? You're going to care about those people. It's something to be learned about what's been done over here that could be duplicated in the world, because there's people with this much money. You just don't have people with this much love for their people.
Ladies and gentlemen, they say Lincoln Bain has an agenda. They are right. And my agenda is the empowerment of the Bahamian people, to put the Bahamian people first. That's it, and that's all. That we will benefit from our natural resources, and that every Bahamian can live a comfortable life in their country. That's it, and that's all. Do I have an agenda? Yes, I do. See you next time.